This week's guest, Bill Burr. Every Sunday night, Travel Channel, Trip Flip, 8 p.m. Please rate, review this on iTunes as we are back on iTunes. I'm on tour. Des Moines, Philly, Buffalo. Please go to BertCast.com.
Is the Bertcast.
All right.
Oh, whoa.
Recording?
You little cowlick you got here, buddy. Oh, my God. Dude, her tongue weighs like 30 pounds.
She's got a big-ass fucking tongue. She will literally... She thinks she's a fucking human, so she will sit on your lap. She will get right up in your face. She thinks she's a human. Pris, pot.
Okay, go on.
Pris, come here.
Go on.
Come here. She's like, I like this guy. Look, this is exactly how she'll sit.
I'm cool. Let's do it.
She'll sit.
You gotta get this picture for the podcast.
Fucking Priscilla.
Oh, my God, dude. This thing is a house.
Here. Oh, fuck, God, she looks so fucking big on your lap. I want to do one of those fucking bus tours.
You gotta send me the
I will.
the picture. You're all right with the door being open?
Yeah. I'm gonna get her out of here. She literally will do this the entire time.
I honestly don't care.
Are you serious?
I love dogs.
Yeah, let me shut the door. How hard was it getting your
Are we going, by the way?
Yeah, we're
Is this
recording.
Oh,
Yeah.
we are.
I gotta sit on the other side. I can't fucking see you with Pris's big fucking head.
This dog is fucking awesome.
Yeah, she's a fucking beast.
She really is.
It's weird too because I just took the girls up to Rogan's house the other day, and I had to warn them because they're very like aggressive with Pris. Like they'll fucking like jump on her, get in her face, roll her on her back. Like it's one of the things they told us with a big dog like this that you got to establish dominance all the time. And I told them, I go, listen, when we go to Joe's house, Joe's dogs are different than ours dogs.
What kind of dogs does Joe have?
Joe's got a fucking pit bull mastiff mix.
All right, buddy, you got to jump down at this
Pris,
point.
come here.
I'm literally
Come
having
here.
problems breathing here.
Here. But like and his dogs are like, he had them as a single dude. So they're like fucking real dogs. So I tell George and Isla, we're in the car, we're pulling up, and I go, listen now, remember the rule. If you see Joe's dogs, it's not like Priscilla. You can't just get up in their face and kind of fuck with them.
Yeah, that's not good.
My youngest daughter literally goes, oh, classic, and gets out of the car and runs up to his house. I'm like, no, not classic. Like, you got to be fucking careful around them.
Yeah, Jesus
classic.
Christ. Yeah, you don't want to be doing any dog will do some damage to you, especially a big one like that.
Yeah,
this one of the most obvious statements ever made. I'll tell you, bro, when it comes to those pit bulls, I don't know if you guys have read up on it.
Come here, Pris. How long did you do that? I want to do a fucking bus tour so bad.
Dude, it was the shit. It cost a ton of fucking money. I don't know if I made anything, but you should do it one time. Just for the hell of it. Go out with a couple of your buddies. Go to some games. We this is how it started off. We went to what did we go into the NCAA final game?
Oh, really?
Michigan versus Louisville. That's how we started it off. And then we went Athens, Georgia, Hoover, Alabama, Charleston, South Carolina. Went back to Atlanta for 2 shows at the Tabernacle. Then we did 2 at the Tampa Improv, 1 at Florida State University, your alma mater, and then we ended at the Jackie Gleason Fillmore in Miami.
So wait, how do you decide what cities you do theaters in and what cities you do clubs in?
What is your dog doing? What's the matter? You want attention?
She's trying to fucking get you to fuck her.
Let me see. I want to see if we can get the sound. What? Nothing. I feel like all. Oh, there it is.
What? What is it, Pris?
You look like you want to say something and you just can't fucking get it out.
Pris.
Monday I was in Tampa and it was just like, all right, we'll do 2 at the Improv and then, just kind of mix it up.
No
mix
press?
and match. I mean, I didn't put it together. Oh no, yeah, press. You do like the radio tours, like living on the West Coast. It's like, all right, you're gonna be talking to the Tampa morning show at 4 a.m. your time, and I work it out with I just
I'm
whatever.
confused. I'm at the point now where it's like I would love to do one-nighters instead of like doing a whole weekend places, just because you can make good money and you're not gone for the whole fucking weekend. That's the fucking exhausting.
Yeah,
What?
but then what ends up happening? If I could just get through this, then what ends up happening?
Briss, I am fucking kicking you out.
No, I love it. Come on.
No, she's gonna drive me nuts. Come here.
Oh, she is. No.
Come on.
All right, we'll see you, buddy.
Come on.
Now we're gonna see how much this dog likes me.
Priscilla.
It's not into the ball. It's hanging with me. This dog loves me.
Come on, Briss. Come on.
Ah, there it goes. That's so fucking mean. Oh, look at her face. I thought we were gonna play. What happened?
She is fucking. I told you, man. She's fucking on thin ice in this house right now. My wife got these new shoes. Wore them last night. They look so fucking good. And Pris chewed up the heel.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, she chewed the
Dude,
heel
a
up.
dog eating a woman's shoes is like eating a man's TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the level that they like it. I got to sit in this chair over here. I don't know why, but I just feel like I want to be sitting like this talking to you. So I don't have to fucking crick my neck here. What was I going to say? Am I the only guy who doesn't own kettlebells? Fuck? Everybody I know does them, and they look good, and then they fuck up their shoulder or their elbow.
I fucked up my back bad.
Yeah.
I was riding roller coasters at the time, too. And I was doing kettlebells, and I fucking threw my back out, and then I got on a roller coaster the next day. I had to ride one like 13 times for a show.
Oh, no.
Fucked my back up, and I was literally... And it's been fucked up for 2 years. 3 years now. My back is still messed up. All up in
You know
my
what the most
neck.
amazing part of that story is that you knew about kettlebells 3 years ago. Like, to me, those are like brand new. That's like...
Oh, seriously? How long have you known Rogan? He's been talking about preaching kettlebells for as long as I've known him. I've known him for two.
You know, we never get around to working out. We never talk about working out. I don't even know what we talk about, but all I know is in 2 seconds, like 4 hours has gone by. I've had the greatest time ever, and we both just laugh, going, "We got to do it again. We got to do it again."
Yeah.
I don't have any idea.
I did someone's podcast. You know who Zane Lamprey is?
Who?
Zane Lamprey.
Zane Lamprey. I don't think I know
He
him.
did a show on HD on Mojo called Three Sheets a long time ago, back when HD TVs just came out. Mm-hmm. So I did his podcast, and we were talking, and he was like looking at his watch. I go, "What the fuck are you looking at your watch for?" And he goes, "We're around an hour." I'm like, "Dude, I've done podcasts that are 5 hours long. I did a podcast with Rogan that was 5 hours long. Like, we did a 3-hour podcast, then stopped, started a brand new 3-hour podcast, and did 2 hours into that one.
That's insane.
It was just getting so fucking wasted. We were blitzed.
Oh, well, you guys, you were getting fucked up while talking into a microphone.
Yeah.
Well, you know something? Like, who the hell was I talking to the other day? Like, it's so great to meet a guy, like, over the age of 35 that'll still party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I always say, you know what the worst thing, like, when I was doing Jay Moore's podcast, and I was just like, I was saying, like, God, I would have loved to have drank with you. It's almost like seeing, like, a great athlete and they're, like, retired. Like, can you imagine if we were on the same team?
Yeah.
You know?
I have never...
Running the floor.
I would have liked to have drank. Like, I always thought that, like, Norton would have been an interesting person to drink with. Like, we used to play a game.
I know.
You don't think so?
No. I said I know.
Yeah, like Norton.
Bobby Kelly, I don't know. Bobby Kelly, I think all of a sudden he'd be like, "What the fuck, dude?" When he fucking slam a glass in the side of your head.
I'm always shocked that Dane never drank. Like, that always shocked me.
You know what? He never drank, so I can't even picture a drink in his hand. That reminds me of Patrice, the late great Patrice, rest his soul. I remember one time I saw him drink a Guinness. We went into a bar, and he's just like, I want to try one of those Guinnesses.
Yeah.
So they gave him a Guinness, and I swear to God, he just took the thing. It was like Norm on Cheers, except he was swallowing. He didn't just open, just pour it in. He fucking just went. He just was like 3/4 swallows. Kind of went like that. Then he looked at me and just shook his head like, "Nah." And that was it. And that guy never drank. I actually get more nervous with the people who never drank, and then all of a sudden they're drinking. Like, in this business, like, you'll see somebody who never, just like...
Tommy Johnigan. Do you know who that is?
I know who he is. I don't know.
Tommy Johnigan never drank his entire life.
Right.
Like, literally, prodigy. One of the funniest fucking kids I've ever worked with in my life. Like, worked with him, and I partied, and he was like, "No, it's not for me." And then
Right.
I run into him in Cincinnati at this brouhaha thing, and he's like, let's get fucking wasted. And I'm like, oh shit, the wheels have come off.
Yeah.
And it was one of those nights where it's like, he's doing all the shit you did when you were 17.
And he has to learn all those lessons. Yeah. Yeah.
You're watching that curve happen of like, oh, you're not allowed to take your shirt off and stand on the bar. I learned that in college.
Yep, and then also you start, even though you're hammered, you start recognizing people's looks on their faces to be like, oh, this is when I should shut up. See, I used to keep talking, and then I had way more shit to apologize for the next day. But
Patrice and I were in Scotland for back when.
dude, I still can't believe he's gone. I'll never be able to fucking accept that.
I got really emotional the day he died, the day he actually died, the day he passed.
Right.
Because I knew what was going on, but I kind of secretly thought somehow it would just change it.
He was going to be all right.
Yeah, and we were going to buy dog food for Priscilla. We were at fucking Rusty's up there, the pet place, and Frosty called me and told me, and I was like, fucking, and I just really kind of started to realize how next level his writing was. I think you and I were in that same, like, you were older than me, but you were in that same class of realization of like, oh shit, the way he was writing was really fucking ahead of its time.
I knew that. I knew that from I knew that in the early 90s. I started with him, so I knew that guy. Like, look, I started with Dane, Bobby Kelly, Patrice O'Neill. That was kind of the guys I started with, and I knew Dane never got his due. Never got his due. I think you might have caught the tail end before he blew up. And dude, I saw that guy like 3 years in. He had guys who were headlining for 15 years bitching to the club owner when he would middle form, going like, you got to tell that kid to tone it down.
I saw that.
And he was like 19, 20 and had the fucking like balls to be like, fuck that headliner. You tell him he needs to turn it up.
Yeah.
You're headlining. If he doesn't want to do it, I'll fucking close the show. This is like a fucking 19, 20-year-old kid.
I saw the tail end of that. I saw the part where he wasn't famous. Everyone was like, why isn't he famous? He's so fucking funny. And he was doing bar spots. This is back when like people were like, you want me to do a bar? And he was doing bar spots.
Oh, when he on the Sunset Strip. Yeah, what was that called? An Irish place.
Highlanders or...
No, it wasn't Highland. It was probably one of his bits. You see that bit about his dad banging his mom and there can only be one Highlander? I always loved that joke. What the fuck was that called? Donovan's.
Dublin's.
Yeah.
And he was murdering that room, and that made murdering in a bar possible. Like, he was the first guy that I saw, because in New York, I always felt like, in New York, when I started, I felt like anyone could bomb at any time. He was the first person I saw that I was like, oh shit, he'll never bomb.
Unbombable.
He did not bomb. And I remember watching him. And
he did not fucking level the room.
Right.
Like, leveled the fucking room.
Like, closed every showcase I was ever a part of. I never saw him not close a showcase. Yeah. And he'd walk on stage with this, like this, I know. Like, I know how this is going to go, just like you know how this is going to go. It's going to be pretty fucking amazing. And I remember seeing that confidence when he'd own a stage. You're right. He never got his due because he blew up so big that there was only room for backlash.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It boggles my mind why that happened, but I never felt like he could. So, anyways, I started out with him, and when I saw him, I was like, this guy's. It was the early '90s. I'm like, he's gonna be famous by 1996. You're talking about like the heyday of like the end of the heyday of like sitcoms, and MTV was still playing videos, and it was before TRL, but it was like, and he was just in that wheelhouse. He had that whole generation, and Patrice was someone that I looked at and was like, I mean, everyone was going like, dude, like, because everyone just kept thinking you do stand up and then you get a sitcom, like, and all these older guys like, would just like how brilliant Patrice was, and like he was working pretty much clean in the beginning. He had a lot of clever stuff, and they were like, "There's no way you're not gonna. You even have the name Patrice live, ABC at 8:00 or whatever." And but I always knew, like, because he was wherever he was at as a comedian. But I used to give him a ride home. My old fucking '83 Ford Ranger was hilarious. Skinny me and big. That looked like a bad cop show, and I'd fucking drive him into the hood. And, you know him, how much he would talk, right? We would sit there in front of his fucking house. I still had a day job. We'd sit there until, like, I pull up around 11:30, and there was times I didn't leave till like 2:30 in the morning, just talking about fucking comedy, talking about life, talking about race, just talking about everything. And there were nights when we would do that for a couple hours, and I'd go home, he'd call me up, and he would literally talk to you to the point you had to switch ears because one ear would start be like all hot from the phone being up to it. And yeah, but he was somebody like, that guy was literally I feel like the gap that there is between like the funniest, like a professional comedian and the funniest guy at the office, the gap that is between that, I thought Patrice had that same gap between him and the funniest guys who are doing stand-up, obviously myself included. And it's one of those things where you can watch his specials and you can listen to his recordings and stuff, and you're only just literally scratching, like just like he was. You're scratching he was a fucking experience. You just had to be.
He was amazing.
Hang on. Were you there that night when he took on that transvestite outside the cellar? I've told this story so many fucking times. He was holding court in front of the cellar like he always did. Sometimes till 4 a.m. Were you there that night the lady poured the water on us?
No.
We were out there so long and laughing just trashing each other. Dude, I came up with some of the funniest fucking guys ever, and we never wrote anything. We never shot anything. We just sat around trashing each other.
It was before being a comic was a business paradigm, where you're like, well, I'm gonna tweet it. I'm gonna. Like nowadays, it's like, and I say this.
And Dane was ahead of the curve on that with the super finger and all that shit. Now everybody's like, in their own way, is coming up with their own sort of like.
Nowadays, you would never get that group to hang out because someone would be podcasting it or vining it. Like it was just funny guys. All they cared about was flexing that muscle and learning how to get funnier.
Well, yeah, but the thing, it wasn't like we were better than this new way. If that option existed, we all would have been staring at our fucking smartphones instead of looking at each other's shirts and
I would say this is literally the time you're talking about is right at the curve when cell phones showed up. Like, and the Nokia was
I remember
the big
getting
one.
shit because I was still using the payphone at the cellar. Keith Robinson, look at Billy. He doesn't got a goddamn phone yet. He's still like, take some of your feature money, stupid. And he would yell it across the cellar and all that. But yeah, so anyway, one time there was this transvestite, and Patrice was holding court in front of the cellar, and I believe he was kicked out of the cellar at that point. But they couldn't stop him from hanging out there because upstairs was a restaurant. It was like this technicality. And I think they also knew that if Patrice hung out at the Boston Comedy Club, we all would have just done our sets and gone over to the Boston because you had to be around him. So he's sitting there, and he's trashing everybody. And all of a sudden this transvestite came down the street, and I don't know what the fuck he said to her, but she just stopped in her tracks, and she was all about it. And she got right in his grill. He was sitting down, of course, as always. And she was standing up, he, she, whatever the fuck you say, and they just started going at it. And I remember one of the first ones she hit him with, and she wasn't scared at all. She hit him with, like, what he told us was an old street joke, but she said that he had so many spaces between his teeth it looked like his tongue was in jail. And we all were like, wow, we all died laughing, right? And Patrice goes, that's a stock line. And he sized her up in 2 seconds, was like, all right, so this girl, she knows a bunch of fucking street jokes. So what he did was he threw like a light one, an easy one, and then he just like Ali laid back on the ropes, let her get like her next 3 fucking. I bought a Snaps book, and then he just started in on her and fucking just totally turned, because I was like, oh my god, Patrice is gonna lose to a fucking transvestite. This is great. And then all of a sudden he turned it around, and I'm telling you, they just went blow for blow, and like I'm telling you, some of the funniest comics in New York at that country at that point was some of the funniest ones in the country, I feel. And we became audience members, and we shut up. A comedian, we all shut up and sat there and just watched them volley back and forth. And Patrice finally, started turning the tide. So she started walking away, was still running her mouth. She never quit, but she left. And I remember Jeff Ross looked at me and just shook his head after it and said, that's the most unbelievable fucking thing I've ever seen. And I was just like, it was one of those things you saw it, and as a performer, you wish you did it.
Yeah.
The same way you saw Eddie Van Halen, you'd listen to him play guitar, and you'd be driving in your car, fantasizing that you were doing it. Like,
Or no. The equivalent to especially any comic listening to this right now, is you in Philly.
oh, that's it.
That's one of those moments where I saw it and I went, "Oh, I wish that had been me." I would have never been able
And
to
that's
do
one
that.
of and that's how performers look at that shit. And that's one of the highest compliments. So I really appreciate that.
I'm telling you, I literally.
Well, if you watch that
I thought you were going to say, if you want, just go perform in Philly.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, just go out. Yeah, show any sort of weakness in the anywhere in Philly. But when you watch me when I yell at the DJ, like I'm trying to fucking work something out here.
Yeah.
He was actually relaying something Patrice said because all the comics came to the side of the stage and were watching it by the end.
Yeah.
And he yelled out "Invincible." That's what he yelled out.
Oh.
Which would have been perfect because I would have been like, you fucking Eagles suck so bad. Some guy from a bar gets a tryout on your team. Not only gets a tryout, he makes your fucking team and has an impact, right? Like, I could have gone on forever, but
Yeah.
I didn't. Like, I was so in attacking anything that talked to me.
Yeah.
And I always felt bad because the DJ, and because he kind of pointed over at Patrice, which was funny because me and Patrice weren't really talking at that time because we had that big fucking battle on O&A because of that fucking idiot radio show.
Yeah.
And that Philly thing was the first time we were backstage. We actually started like fucking talking again like friends because
I heard that live, that you and Patrice, you were on the phone, right?
Yeah. And
And
that's the worst thing about the internet. It was like a 3-month fight in our relationship, but it lives on forever.
Yeah.
And people still ask me about that. And it was just, we were doing this guy's show, and the guy the second I walked into the studio, he was just giving me shit. And I was thinking like I remember I came walking in the studio and and they had already given me a water. And so like one of the guys working on the show goes, "Bill, anything else you need or anything?" I was like, "No, I got a water. I'm good. All I need is some headphones." And he turns around and goes, "We'll get you some cans. We'll get you some cans."
Who was this guy? Don't say it because maybe I might be friends with him.
I don't want to. All you got to do is listen to the thing. You'll hear who the fuck it is. I don't name names, right? So then I was just like, whoa. And he just kind of kept coming at me like that. So I thought it was like, okay, this guy thinks maybe I'm coming in from New York, so I think I'm better than him.
Yeah.
So I thought like this was some little hazing thing, like, okay, this guy's going to break my balls for a couple of breaks, and once I show that I have a sense of humor about myself, he's going to warm up. He never did. And in the middle of it, Patrice called in, and he accidentally cursed, and I'm giving him shit for cursing or whatever, but I'm doing it more in like that cellar, hanging out in front of the cellar,
Yeah.
you big stupid head, this isn't satellite radio, blah blah blah. But then, man, I'm gonna say
Yeah, I
his
know.
name.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
yes.
I already said it.
As soon as you said it, I went.
Yeah, he fucking hung up on him, and I didn't realize he hung up on him. But even then, I was just looking like, who gives a fuck? I didn't think it was that big a deal. And the episode ended like 2-3 hours later. The episode ends, and at the end of the episode, right, my HBO special came out, and the guy was like on the air trashing, like making fun of my special. Like, so what do you got going on? And I was like, well, I got a half hour coming out on HBO. And I just came out on HBO, and he goes, "Really? I haven't heard anything about it." Something like that. And I was like, "Well, it's doing real well." And he goes, "Whatever." And it was one of those things. The second the show ends, he goes, "Hey, did you have a good time?" And it's just like, "Yeah, man, I had a great time. All right, see you next time." Fucking whatever. What was that?
Yeah.
And it was after. It was after the episode. That's when me and Patrice first got into a fight because I got off and all it was a message going, "Yeah, that guy's a dick, man. Give me a call." So I called him up, and I didn't realize that he was really upset by it. So I came at him in seller mode.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Just kind of do this and blah, blah, blah. And then I go, "You hung up on you, jackass," or something. And he was like a lot of people don't know he was really a sensitive guy. So that's what started off. So then he goes on Opie and Anthony, and then that started the whole, "You don't tell me I taught you to do this." And then my ego goes, "What you fucking taught me to trash people?"
Yeah.
Fucking met you when I was 25. I live in a quarter of, and then it just was, and it was literally like, two fucking pit bulls in a ring. So then we had this ugly fucking back and forth. So long story short, so then the Opie and Anthony tour starts, and I'm
What cities did you do on that? You did
I don't remember. I remember we did Worcester, which was hilarious because we should have done Boston, but Opie and Anthony years earlier had done a hoax on the radio and said that the mayor of Boston had died. And they did it so well, evidently, that some people really close to him thought he was dead. And they caused a lot of emotional anguish on people. So to this day, it's Mayor Menino, he's finally leaving. So he was still in office, and they got fired. I mean, by the time we came back, it was years later. They were in New York, and they still, I guess you had the level of size show that they were doing.
Yeah.
They needed a license. You needed some sort of something from the city of Boston. So it was funny. So like the tour was like all these major cities and then like Worcester, Massachusetts. But it was cool to play there, the Worcester Centrum, because one of the first comedy shows I went to, I saw Dice Clay there with an unknown Eddie Griffin opening, who got booed by the crowd, and I was booing because I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like what you think when you're not a comedian, like, oh, Dice is gonna love this.
Yeah.
And Eddie,
what is that mentality? Dice will love if we boo his opener.
Because we don't think he's friends with him, because we're not in show business. So then what the funny thing was Eddie Griffin, now that I think, he didn't leave and told everybody to go fuck themselves, and he kept doing his thing. So maybe that stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And another time I got booed in Vegas, and I didn't leave, but I was just taking it in. Like the first time you get booed, it's a fucking unbelievable
I remember the first time I got booed was at the Boston Comedy Club, and Patrice was in the back, and he saw me say a prayer before I went on stage. It was an all-black room. Like he saw me do like a prayer, I still do it sometimes.
Oh, Sunday night at the Boston, right?
Yeah. Sunday night's talent.
One of my favorite shows I ever did.
And so he saw me do a prayer, and I fucking bombed hard. And then I got off, and Patrice is like, if I ever see you fucking pray before you go on stage again, I'm gonna fucking rip that chain off your neck.
Right.
And I was like,
and how great advice was that?
I was like, it is, because I guarantee you, someone saw me doing a prayer in the corner, and they're like, fuck this white boy, and they fucking ate my lunch. If I just walked up and
even
did
if they didn't see it, it's the fact that you're to the point that you're actually in prayer. I mean, you're preparing yourself
for failure. I'm going to war. I'm fucking tell my dad if I don't come back, I love him.
Yeah, I got a 1 in a zillion chance.
I got a 1 in a zillion,
and that's what you're going. I used to love doing Sunday Night at the Boston. Was my favorite club show I ever did.
It was It was like I did it a couple times, and I think it was basically because I barked there, and then so they knew me from. They put me up. I want to say twice, but it was probably just that one time.
Did you ever do well or no?
No. Oh no. I ended up doing good.
Dude, that room, it's like you walked out of there.
Oh, no, I ended up doing good at Mo Better Mondays in L.A. I did with
that's a tough
D-Ray. D-Ray was hosting.
That's a rough, I don't know, maybe because it's Monday, they're coming out of work, and they got 4 more days. It's just like...
Open with a Duran Duran joke.
Oh, there you go. Well, I like that you did that. You kept it real.
It was about Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. I go, what is this, a Duran Duran reunion concert or something? And they fucking silence. I go, you guys probably don't know who Duran Duran is. And then,
that might have got a laugh.
And then that got like a chuckle. And I went, it's like imagine DeBarge, but if there were 4 of them and they were white. And they kind of got that. And then I went, and then I started, and then I just acknowledged the fact that there.
You acknowledged the situation.
Yeah. I'm dying to know what is like that. That fucking like so. And I know I hate to fucking ask you this question, but like, can you walk me through that Philly set? Because that's one of my favorite things to tell people that don't know. Like I told Travel Channel about you, like we were having dinner. Right. And Al had said you had an
You have
idea.
dinner with Travel Channel?
I'm having
what does Travel Channel look like?
White, no, tall.
I thought you just said it like it was a name. We're hanging out with Channel tonight.
No,
Michael Channel? No, Travel Channel.
It's like
his younger brother.
All the execs, and they're talking about stand-ups and good stand-ups. And Al, a long time ago, had told me this idea that I guess you and him had, and I didn't tell them the idea, but I told them about your Philly experience. Right. And I was like, it's one of the greatest. It's one of those moments where you get chills, where you, as a comic, you go, it's like fucking. So wait, just tell me what happened.
I've told this story a zillion times. So
I've never heard it from you, and I'm dying.
A bridge what happened was, it was the Opie and Anthony traveling virus tour, and everybody knew a show like that was coming. You just didn't know when.
Yeah.
And we had done Worcester, we had done someplace in New Jersey, and this was I think the 3rd stop, and we were we were relieved Worcester went well.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I think we were doing the walkovers and just, you forget that there's a lot of great regular people that listen to that show. But like
based on the
but when
the
you did
4,000 you run into.
But when you did the walkover, it was just these psychos. It's like, do you understand like the level of commitment to a radio show? It's like 8 a.m. we're walking over. It's like, don't you people have to go to work? Like what do you do? And like I always equated it to like Howard Stern. Like I always listened to Howard Stern and everything, but I would never go to the mall to see Gary or one of those guys. I love those guys, but I had shit to do.
Yeah.
So you were getting like this fringe kind of crazy. So it was, and the people who call in and all that stuff. It's like, I'm one of those guys. I sit back and I watch the circus. I don't jump in and become a part of it. So
I don't paint my face for the game.
Yeah, so exactly. So we were seeing, perfect analogy, we were seeing the face painters, right?
The face painters who have painted their baby also.
Yeah, exactly. So when we went to go do Worcester, like it was just a great show, and they listened and they loved comedy, and it was like this pleasant surprise because in the back of our heads we're thinking, well, at least the people calling, hey, shit, dick, go fuck yourself. The people who call in. So then we go to do Jersey. Dude, Jersey was like one of the greatest fucking gigs we ever had. It was amazing. They were just like, it was a perfect summer day.
Yeah.
Everybody was listening. Everybody killed. Everybody had a great show. I was like, holy shit. And right as I started to relax, and I'm thinking like, okay.
This is going to be perfect.
This is going to be a great tour. And I'm hanging with my friends, and Opie and Anthony are here, and fucking, this is the greatest. This is one of these tours I'm going to remember.
I remember hearing about the tour and going, fuck, man, that is something I wish I had been a part of because it was like, just seemed like fun.
Yeah.
Like, and this is pre everything that is social media today. So it's like maybe you'd catch wind of it on MySpace or something.
Well,
YouTube
existed.
YouTube existed, but it wasn't
exist.
like it was. Maybe I didn't know how to run the internet the way I do now, so I couldn't get all that I needed to know about it.
Right.
So I just knew about all the.
It was the early days, chocolate rain days of YouTube, very early. So then our next one, the Philly gig, was actually in Camden, at this place called the Tweeter Center. It was like an amphitheater. So it sat like 10,000 people. So we pull into the venue, and there's literally people in fucking Eagles jerseys throwing footballs like they're tailgating. And I rode down with Bobby Kelly, and we immediately were like, uh-oh. It just and there was this...
I fucking pay money to be in that car.
There was just this creeping feeling of that you will just... that this was gonna, I don't know. I still can picture this guy throwing the ball. Like when I have like, it's, you can't remember everything. I just remember driving in, and Bobby was driving, and I remember we drove down and saw some people with a WOW sticker on the back of their car, and he goes, let's freak them out, right? Well, the WOW stickers are the Whip It Out Wednesdays, the promo there. So we beeped the horn, and we fucking just stick our heads out, at the whatever. And they looking at us like, what the fuck's... And then they kind of recognize us, and then they freak out, and we laughed, drove away. So we had a great time coming down, and we're laughing and joking around, thinking everything's going to be great. So anyways, kind of had to backtrack. We pull in, and it looks like the Eagles are playing the Cowboys or something.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is a fucking comedy show? Are they having like a preseason game here next? Like, what's going on? So we got in there, and... yada, yada, yada. It's still broad daylight because it's summer. It's outside. And the place holds 10,000 people, and maybe like, I don't know, 35, 40% are in there. Maybe 20% are sitting down. The rest are walking around trying to find their seat. And Voss goes out and brings up the first act, who I'm not going to name his name because he went out there. He was from Philly, had all his family there and all that type of stuff. And it's not Dom Irrera, if everybody keeps guessing that one. It was broad daylight. He goes out there and just does his act. And within, I don't know how many minutes, he starts getting booed. And, dude, everybody backstage is just going like, oh, God, in their own way going, it's going to be one of these, right? And I'm looking at the list. How far down the list am I? This is how it's starting. So he goes out there, and, like, by the end of his act... It was this core group of people that started booing him, and then it got a little bit bigger. So there was probably maybe 1,000 people just chanting, asshole, asshole. And this guy was so deer in the headlights, he just ends his act with, like, as they're chanting asshole, he just goes, thanks a lot, you guys have been great, good night, right? And gets off stage. Had an absolutely stunned look on his face, and I went up to him to try to console him, and I was kind of doing that, dude, while kind of laughing because he had this stun, like, what the fuck was that? So then Voss goes out, and he starts doing time. And you got to understand, Voss is doing time in front of a crowd that's sort of going in. I don't know why we started it. Maybe it was one of those things you had to be out of the venue by a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
These people were getting fucked up, and they were still throwing footballs around, and we're walking into the stadium, and Voss starts trying to do his shit, which was impossible, dude. Yeah. It was like this bright sun. It was ridiculous. So they start turning on him, and he goes, you know, watch your mouths or I'll bring so-and-so back. And he shit on the first guy. And to me, he just turned the keys over to the crowd where they do the Caesar thumbs up, thumbs down, which is the vibe Voss likes and the vibe I don't like, right? So, dude, the lineup was insane. Like, Tracy Morgan, Patrice O'Neill, Ralphie May, I think Bob Saget, Robert Kelly, Dom Irrera, myself, Opie and Anthony, and Jim Norton closing.
Yeah.
So, people, I don't know. Like, I knew something was fucked up when Tracy Morgan went out, and he was supposed to do 15 to 20, and he pulled up at about 7 minutes, 50 seconds in the middle of a bit, just stopped and went, thank you, good night, God bless, and just put the thing down. And you know that deal, dude. You do those uptown rooms, they boo in those, and you go into the black rooms enough, you can feel a boo coming.
Yeah.
And he was just looking around.
It's like he saw the ocean go out, and he went, "Oh, there's a tsunami coming, guys."
Smartest fucking dude of the night. He looked at this bunch of crazy drunk white people. They're not going to remember if I did 7 minutes or 17.
Yeah.
God bless. I'm out. Put down the mic and fucking walked off. And then Ralphie did his thing. Patrice did his thing. Bob said, I think Patrice closed out the first half, and then they had a break. And at this point, now the sun's gone down. And now it starts to look like the Apocalypse Now, like bridge scene that you see on the YouTube video. And what happened? They showed a video in the middle. Their video in the middle during the intermission was some guy had an ear infection, and somehow he dribbled some of the stuff out of it, and then another listener drank it, and then somebody who was watching it threw up in a barrel. So that was the let's all go to the lobby moment of that show. So then the second half started. Bobby went out and killed. Had a great, because one of the big myths is that everyone was bombing. They weren't. Patrice killed. Ralphie killed. Tracy went on early. Tracy, the sun was going down, so he was the smartest guy. He was doing fine, but it was starting to be like, all right, already, like that. There's no way to. You had people sitting on grass. There was lawn seats.
Yeah.
In broad daylight watching stand-up comedy, and you're this fucking big, and then there's a bit, and they're hammered. It was an impossible situation. So Bobby came out to start the second half, and he killed, and then Dom went out, and Dom fucking A-level material, standing there delivering it, and about 3/4 through his set, the boo birds started coming back. Now, nobody has booed since the first guy, so let's end that whole myth. And the first guy went on around 7. This is now around 9:45 at night, which is always great. You know, let's do a 3.5 hour comedy show outside of a drunk people. What could go wrong?
During the change of day to night.
Oh, yeah. It's So Dom, about 3/4 through his set, the Boo Bird started, and he just stood there like eloquently. And he just said, you know, he goes, I'm not leaving. He goes, what? Why would you think I would ever leave? And it was just almost like philosophical, and they were kind of like, oh yeah, what were we thinking? And they kind of stopped. And then he ended his set. And he ended it on a good note. And at that point, I was annoyed. I was just annoyed because I was sitting there going like, this is one of the greatest comedy lineups
that I've been, as far as up and coming guys that I've been around.
Yeah.
And these fucking people are treating everybody like shit. And, you know, and I'm a defensive fucking angry dude anyway. So it was just kind of the perfect storm. So I walked out there not even nervous. I was like, these guys don't even deserve a show. Fuck this. What the fuck am I even doing on this tour? So basically, I did the reverse of you praying. I went the completely other way. I walked in there like I was walking into like fucking Vaughn's to go buy a fucking chicken breast or something. You know, like I had no nervousness.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they introduced me and the fucking whatever curtain or whatever I walked out from behind. I looked out and I was like, oh my God. So I was like, fuck, what joke am I going to do? So I did the first one and it wasn't working. So I bailed on it. And then I did this next joke, which I didn't realize they were playing as the radio promo, so everyone had already heard it.
Oh.
I don't know what, dude. I didn't want to do the show at that point. So really them booing to the level that they did was my fault. Like I wasn't a professional. What I should have done was I should have kept my head in the game to survive it. So I came out and threw gas on a fire that was already going, and I pulled up halfway through that second bit, and I said something like, oh, what, you guys aren't going to laugh at that? And then it was just this thunderous boo. And I just snapped because I didn't want to be there. Like, I just kept thinking the whole time backstage going, I didn't have to be here.
Yeah.
I could have been in a place in front of 150 people that wanted to hear my jokes. I would have made 10% of whatever I'm making tonight, and I would have been happy.
Yeah.
I don't fucking need... I've done this. I've been humiliated. I've had enough shit thrown at me. I'm 15 years into my fucking career. Whatever. What was it? 06? 14 years into my goddamn career. Okay? I don't want to do this anymore. Okay?
God.
So that was the vibe that I came out with, which was a fucking stupid vibe to come out with. So whatever. So they booed me and I just snapped because I remember the time when I got booed. Another time, I didn't leave the stage, but afterwards, it just kept gnawing at me. The faces of people in the crowd, just thinking like, I let that guy boo me.
Yeah.
I let that fat guy boo me, and I didn't call him fat.
Yeah.
I let that dumb chick. I didn't call her a dumb chick. What the fuck is wrong with me? And I never made a point to say that. Well, the next time that happens, because who thinks it's going to happen again, or who thinks it's going to be fucking 100 times worse
in a fucking stadium?
Yeah. So that's basically what happened, and I'm a big sports guy, and that's really what saved me. Because people go, oh, you turned the crowd around because they respected and blah, blah. No, because what it was in Jersey, so it was close enough to D.C., it was close enough to New York, and it was in Jersey and Philly. So what you had was fans of the New York Giants, the New York Yankees, the fucking New Jersey Devils, the Washington Capitals, the Washington Redskins, and all of them are in the same division.
And you're making fun of...
They fucking hate the Eagles. They fucking hate the Flyers. They fucking hate the Mets fans hate the Phillies.
Yeah.
Giants, Redskins fans hate the Eagles.
That's so fucking interesting.
So that's what it is. So I started shitting on their teams, and I know my stuff when it comes to that stuff. And I just so happened that I was also in a city where they were having this championship drought. So it just became that's what it became. I can't remember what I started. I think I just started just saying mean shit about their moms and wishing AIDS on them and everything. But then once I got into the sports thing, that's when it took off. Like all that fuck the Liberty Bell and shit. I was just anything I could think of Philly at that point. But when I was doing the sports thing, and I've never watched it. I've seen clips, but I never really watched it. But like, it was the sports thing that dragged. I mean, there might have been, and if there was people from like fucking Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh Flyers is one of the biggest rivalries ever. When I made fun of their slacks that they wore, well, called them a bunch of faggots back when you didn't get in trouble for saying stuff like that. And there was nothing homophobic about it. It was just like, that's why I love that Louis C.K. joke when he talked about the word faggot. Like, I never associated that with homophobia. I just to me that just meant you were a douchebag and I couldn't count on you. So and it still kills me to this day that I forgot to bring up the 76ers.
Really?
I forgot to bring up the 76ers. And I instantly knew I was going to say something along the lines that the Philadelphia 76ers, all you have is Allen Iverson. And the rest of the team is just like this crowd, a bunch of nobodies going fucking nowhere, or just something along those lines. I mean, it was all the same thing.
The fucking hammering, the thing that, the thing that was like the hammering home, like one of the best stand up, like 5-10 minute sets I've ever seen. Have you ever seen Bernie Mac when he came out? I'm not.
I'm not.
I ain't scared of you, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Hit that, and then boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
I ain't scared of you, motherfucker.
You don't scare me.
Yeah.
Patrice told me about that.
What?
Patrice told me like
To watch that?
Well, no, he just told me about it for years because we came up in the '90s before, the internet was just a bunch of computer nerds. I don't know, playing ping pong. I don't know what the fuck it was at that point.
Yeah, and sports lines.
But you couldn't. There was no YouTube was still 10 years away. So he told me about that and was basically saying the same kind of thing, that a bunch of guys were getting booed off stage. And
Hamburger Jones was the one before him, I think.
Is that his last name?
Hamburger Jones.
Hamburger. Right?
Hamburger.
Yeah. So he told me that he came out and was like, "You don't scare me, New York. I'm not afraid of you," and all that type of stuff. And so that's the thing. Like, that's why I get undue credit for the Philly thing. It's just like the Philly thing happened right when YouTube happened, so there was somebody there to document it. Where Bernie Mac, rest his soul, had already done it.
No. It's the thing that I pulled out from both of them was you had the I ain't scared of you motherfuckers in that fucking 7 minutes. When you did that, that's the part where you get chills because you go at one point you're saying it as in this is I got 10 more minutes, oh fuck. And then at one point you're you're almost reveling in the fact that I have 7 more minutes to make fun of you. It's the same.
I was never reveling. It might look like I was, but I wasn't. I had a fucking headache at the end of it, and I was 2 days afterwards. I was locked. You ever hear when they say somebody has he had a death grip?
Yeah.
I remember hearing this hilarious story. I remember watching this with my mother, and we were laughing our asses off the way this guy described this. These two guys are flying like a Cessna, and they're hearing this rattle in the back, and it's the fucking door in the back, one of those old school doors that you open it, and the stairs are also on the door. Remember those?
Yeah.
They'd flip down. So he went to go shut it. The fucking thing flew open. So the pilot's up there like, "Oh my God, my friend just got sucked out of the plane." And then he's also thinking, how am I going to land this fucking thing? Because the door hangs down lower. I think it hangs down lower than the wheels.
Yeah.
So long story short, he fucking lands the damn thing. And he's wiping tears away. And he fucking gets to the back stairs. And there's his buddy. Feet still in the plane, head down at the bottom of the stairs, holding on to the banister thing. And he's talking to him, and the guy's not saying shit, so he had to step over him. And the fucking paramedics got there. And they had to talk to him for 20 minutes. They go, because he had a death grip. It's just like your body overrides whatever that is that makes your muscles tired. The last grip it had is "Don't let go, motherfucker." And he was there for 45 minutes. My mother, we were crying. They didn't tell it as colorful as I did. This is how funny my family is. All they just said was, "Yeah, it took us a half hour to get him to let go of the stairs because he had what's known as a death grip." And we just fucking. You just saw the whole thing just roaring. You saw the pilot standing there like, Jerry, it's okay now, Jerry. And him just fucking still mentally at 30,000 feet or whatever. I guess you couldn't be that high. You wouldn't be able to breathe. But so anyways, I had mental version. I was walking around New York and I was looking at people and just thinking insults. And I'm not joking. It took me it was mentally traumatic. It was not funny. No, dude, I had a headache. I had a headache afterward. I had an anxiety where I was just because some of the other parts of the tour ended up on YouTube, and I was sitting there going like, "Oh my God, are people gonna be like laughing at me and going, you got booed?" Because all I'm thinking was I got booed.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be embarrassing, and then but by then like MySpace had like that was the beginning where all of a sudden like people could just be in your living room. Where like before then, like if something like that happened, the only people who saw it were the people who were there, and maybe they called in the local radio station, and some of your buddies who from high school, if they lived in the city, dude, I heard you got booed. But that whole fucking thing then was just like it was filmed, everybody saw it, and then people could find you on MySpace and send you mean shit.
Yeah.
And that's all I was thinking. And then we did one more show after that one was in Cleveland, and my brain was going, don't go to this one. Don't go to it because they're just going to boo you, because at this point everybody had talked about it and they loved it, but it was already starting to take on a life of its own where it was way beyond what really happened. I mean, it was a simple formula. I just attacked what they loved. It was simple. I started with their mothers, their girlfriends, their bodies,
Yeah.
and then their sports team. And then when I was running out of shit, I said dumb stuff. Fuck the Liberty Bell. What does that mean? That's just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I remember Molly from the Punchline said her favorite line was, and I've never seen it, but it actually made me laugh, and I don't remember saying it, was saying the base of the mic stand that I wanted to frisbee it into the crowd. And I said, I hope I hit a baby.
You're right. That was before you could say something. Like now you say something like that, or you like Tosh shit makes a statement and it goes, someone writes a blog about it and you're like, motherfucker.
And that was the dumbest. And that's another thing too, those controversies, air quote controversies in comedy clubs. It's like if you tell a joke in a comedy club and 300 people laugh and one person doesn't, but they blogged about it.
Yeah.
There's no controversy. It's lazy reporting. The amount of times that they've done that, and they'll show the clip in the club, and you hear the whole crowd laugh.
Yeah.
And they try to turn it into like that Kramer thing that happened. And like there's that new thing where there's people like, they keep talking about these rape jokes. Like, when was the last time you heard a rape joke? Like, they make it seem like you go to a comedy club and somebody's up there, what's the deal with rape? Why? Is it illegal? Like,
I wanted to fuck her.
Yeah, but she wouldn't let me. It's like, where are you hearing all these fucking jokes? And like, it's such a dangerous. It's the great thing that it gives everybody a voice, and you can overthrow like a fucking oppressive government, evidently. But then the other thing is it gives you a voice before maybe you have all the information you need, because like you have to allow, like 7 to 8 years in as a comedian, it's like you're trying to find your voice.
Yeah.
And everybody goes through that. Oh, am I the next Bill Hicks? Let me put on a leather jacket and try to do the edgy thing. It's like you start taking subjects off the table. It's like you're getting in the way of somebody. Like stand-up comedy is not owned by anybody.
Yeah.
It's an art form, and and I was allowed to, walk into the tool shed and use any tool I wanted, and to sit there and start taking some away. And another thing too is like what not enough people understand is that, as I'm listening to you talk and you listen to you talk, we're not hearing 100% what each person has said. It's like, it's you say something and then it goes into my brain and my life experience. So it's like I give you a kilo of me and it's immediately cut with Bert.
Yeah. It's stepped on pretty heavily.
Yeah, it's stepped on. So it's just like and that's why.
Well, you heard me quote your joke that made me laugh. That I said, I go, oh yeah, I told my buddy Zane that joke, and then as you went, well, I saw you correct me, and you go, it's actually a seminar, and I went, oh, that's so funny. The way I remember it, you were like, it's stepped on. It's a way like I could tell a story that like that happened to me and my wife, and then my wife hears it and goes, that's not how it happened at all. And you're like,
oh my God. And then by the end of it, it's like, no, we were on vacation. No, we weren't. We were in the garage. And like, I'm telling you, and like, you're, you know what those people who are doing that, it's like if you're a stand-up comic and you're doing it, it'd be like playing guitar for 7 or 8 years and then telling every guitar player up to the level of Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and those guys what chord they shouldn't use anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think it's deliberately arrogant. I just think it's a part of being 7, 6, 7, 8 years in, and you know, you just have the ability to just fucking put your opinion out there, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at anybody saying that type of thing, but like, you know, the journalism is so fucking lazy now that's the kind of thing that picks up steam, and that's like a snowball effect, and you know, like, look, when you go on stage and you do a joke about a fat person, who gets offended?
Fat people.
Fat people.
Yeah.
Right? But 5 seconds ago, they're laughing at the rescue dog bit.
Yeah.
But the person who works at a fucking rescue, they're mad.
Yeah.
So it's because and it's just like, how come the fat guy laughed at the PETA shit, and how come the PETA person laughed at how come the PETA person never gets fucking offended at the fat shit, and the fat guy never, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, because it's my words getting cut with your life experience, and if it's something that's really traumatic or close to your heart, all of a sudden you don't hear a joke anymore. Somehow you saw me telling jokes for a half an hour, and then all of a sudden, no, that's a statement, because now you're mentally on the playground in 1978. You're not even hearing me, and then you sit down and write a fucking blog, and you start saying, this is what he said, and this is what he meant. You don't know what the fuck I said.
Yeah.
This is what was said to me, and here's my fucking life experience, and now I'm throwing it up on a page. That's what you're doing. You know?
Yeah, and
I'm off my soapbox now.
No. I feel that way exactly. I went through, thankfully, when no one could. Well, I was at the time, and I think it also happens like at the time when you're trying to find your voice and you're trying to be Bill Hicks, and I was trying to be edgy, and all I talked about was race. Like all that.
Right.
I mean, that was what, because I thought that was dangerous at the time.
Yeah.
I was doing it. Not a lot of white dudes were like talking as honestly as I was trying to talk, and it was never mean, but I definitely got in trouble a few times where it was like,
you got yourself into situations, and that's learning to be a comic. You start to see where the line is. How do I get out of situations?
Yeah.
What am I trying to say? Is this me? Is this what I'm doing? And it's like, you know, you learn an instrument. Don't play country music.
yeah,
Don't play. Fuck that whole thing. You know,
it's interesting too, because I think now I'm finally. Now I think I'm a lot more comfortable with who I am as a comic, but I don't know. Like I don't know.
Well, that's all finding you. Well, finding your voice to me is this, like, you're sitting. The first time you get called up, right? Other than your nervousness, let's say you're sitting there waiting to do your first show. When you're sitting there and you're talking to somebody, you're you, and you have your voice. What fucks you up is the first time you go on stage is like an outer body experience, because you're literally like, I can't believe I am on a stage right now.
Yeah.
At least this was for me. Once again, cut with my experience here. And I'm holding, how do I do this? How do I get the mic out of the mic stand and all this type of stuff? So you start moving. You start
implementing things you've seen other people do. Like, I remember I saw Geraldo. I'll never forget this. I saw Geraldo take the mic out of the mic stand and put his arm on the mic, hand on the mic stand, like outstretched, like
I remember I used to do that. Yeah.
And he'd put his hand on the mic stand and like stick his arm outstretched. And I remember the first time I did that, I went, I bet this looks real to these people. Like thinking, like this. I bet they think I'm better now.
But this is the thing. When you're off stage, you're not going like, I'm going to sit down in the chair like I just saw that other person here in Starbucks sit down in the chair. So you stop, like, you don't even move how you move. You walk differently because you're so aware that everybody's paying attention. So all finding your voice is just being as comfortable as you are when you're sitting in the back.
Well, you did
shooting the shit.
You did. I'm gonna say this and then you can correct me. But like, you did a 180 at one point. I feel like I'm gonna say this is obviously cut 100% with me. I remember the night.
When did you come to New York?
I started in like
90s, late 90s.
One of my 26th birthday. So I'm 40 now. So 14 years ago. 14 years ago,
you were just math in there. Was that 99?
99, 98. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I started hanging out.
That was the heyday, man.
I'll tell you two things. Two people that were nice to me, because I got a deal like 6 months in.
I remember that.
Were you and Geraldo?
You shit in a box.
You came up to me and you were like, you need to tell Esty that you got a deal. You need to tell a lot of times these clubs don't know that you're a working actor, that you're
right.
But it means a lot to them, so you need to let that know. And don't tell anyone anything. Everyone's going to shit on you. It happens. Geraldo said the exact same thing. Geraldo was like, don't look, everyone's going to shit on you. It comes with the territory. Don't worry about it. You two are the only two. Other person that was left at Impact was Patrice, who was like, how much money did you get? And I was like, I was like, I don't think I can talk about that.
He used to call me up. Yeah. He goes, they gave this motherfucker X amount of dollars because the N-word shit in a box. And for those of you, do all your listeners know that story that you got the?
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Shit in a pizza box.
I shit in a pizza box to win an election, and it was written up in Rolling Stone magazine as it's
the hardest partying guy.
Yeah.
So your manager at the time somehow spins. This is why I love entertainment. Come on, man, he's shit in a box. That's the show right there. And somehow you have a deal to have your own sitcom.
Because he's shit in a box.
In a box.
Patrice got out how much money I was earning. He goes, how much? I know you know the number. Tell me the number. And I said, it's not. He goes, 6 figures? I go, yeah. And he goes, big 6 figures? I said, no. And he goes, if you spent $1, would it become 5 figures? And I went, yeah. And he goes, they gave you $100,000. And I'm fucking never forget Bertcast like, why would you tell Patrice of all people?
Dude, that fucking guy, man, I swear to God, if he wasn't Patrice and was just Patrice, he would have got $10 million in deals. There was nothing funny when the industry would come up to him, the shit he would say to them.
I remember him arguing with Todd Berry about who would do Letterman first, and his argument was, you may be able to get on there with stand-up, but I'm going to panel before you. And Todd,
I think he did.
He did. And I remember Todd Berry thinking that was the funniest statement, that Patrice thought he would panel before him. And Patrice broke it down. Why would you ever panel? Why would you ever? No one wants to see you be you. They want to see you on stage. They want to see me be Patrice. They want to see me be me. I'll never forget him dissecting. And what Todd thought was a ridiculous statement all of a sudden made 100% sense. And he was like, I watched his face fall, and I was like, holy shit, Patrice is totally going to panel before Todd. Patrice's logic is accurate. Balls on fucking accurate.
No. And that was, how many people's faces did you see him make fall?
Oh, me. He did it to me a number of times. I remember
dude, I used to go down the cellar, and I used to fucking get 6 insults ready just to kind of, it was like I was spray of machine gun fire so I could get to the fucking table without him trashing me. But it was just.
So wait, let's go back to this. So like, I remember this night. I'll never forget this. David Tochterman was in town. I had just moved to L.A. I've been in L.A. 7 months.
Right.
I had, maybe this is a little longer than this. No, it wasn't David Tochterman. It was Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen was in town. I'd been in L.A. 7 months. I had started doing stand-up at Boston. I had been now like 2 years since I was 28 or 27, 28 years old.
Right.
And I came down to the Boston on a Friday night to do a set. And before that, your stand-up was real clean. It was real like you did some jokes on infomercials, but it was like real like it was
the second stage of me becoming dirtier, because I was squeaky clean like nothing. But by the time you saw me, I did drop F-bombs, but I just had a way of
then this night
making it seem like
it was a Saturday night. I'll never forget this. Barry had just stopped working with you, I think, and you went up and you fucking did the metamorphosis of what is now what people know as your stand-up. I remember you were talking about women's rights, and I was like, which I'd never heard anyone talk about on stage, and you were talking about, if I want to say the joke was...
The Titanic one?
Something, yeah. If you want equal rights, then we get in the boat with you, or whatever it was. And I remember being in the back, in that way back corner by the bar, going like, holy fucking shit. I pulled you over twice that night. I was like, dude, whatever you're fucking doing, this is... I remember saying this like 3 times, and then saying to Barry, like, God damn it, man, that's what I want to be doing. And you had said, I think you had said you had been in LA and you moved back to New York, or you had started really focusing on stand-up and really like immersing yourself in stand-up, and you were like, man, I'll never forget that night, because I remember I think I ended up shirtless at the end of the night in the back corner talking to some young comic.
How did we never, I didn't drink, it's weird, I didn't drink that much, because, I was hanging out with like Patrice, and when I hung out with Dane, because I think Dane was in LA he was in LA, but like Dane never drank, so... Like, I didn't drink much Wasn't until I met Joe DeRosa, that son of a bitch.
I was a big drinker,
kidding.
man. I used to party with all the black comics because they all partied. And so I used to like Donnell, Tony Woods.
Don't name names, man. Come on, don't get people in trouble.
Donnell's to this day. We did some show for Comedy Central, and it was like I was like, man, if I remember Donnell's like got that Patrice in him too, where Kyle Cease walked up. We were doing this show, and Kyle Cease had a show that said you got kicked off every week, and every week Kyle Cease had a new hat. He was going to wear a new hat for the show, and the first one said week 1. And he tries to sit down in the corner with Donnell and Red Grant and me. And Donnell goes, man, get you with your hat, son. You're right. You are the week 1. And Kyle goes, I think it's spelt differently. And he goes, not in my neighborhood. You weak, son. You should just get a hat that says weak. Get the fuck out of here. And fucking annihilated him. But I remember watching that. And then you did that 30-minute HBO, like you, Louis, Patrice, and
Earthquake, Jim Norton.
I think that's it.
Nope, Kevin Brennan.
Oh, really?
Rattling my brain here.
That was the next. That was when it was like, I was like, oh shit, everyone's fucking writing. That was also the fucking craze of writing and stand up. All of a sudden, everyone started fucking writing like crazy.
And that was, I remember talking to Louis right before he did his half hour. I went down there to say what's up because I wanted to watch, because I've always been a huge fan of his. And this is right before he went on that tear. This is before Lucky Louie, before he was about ready to rip off. Like, I mean, how many hour specials has the guy done? Like 5?
Probably as many as you. You do a fucking one every 18 months?
No. Louis does one every fucking year. I do mine every 2 years, which is a dude, you're talking twice as long. Okay, if you're going to jail, would you rather go for 1 year or 2? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. And I remember saying to him, I go, hey, you got any advice? And he said, yeah. He goes, enjoy it. He goes, because I remember I did one in the mid-'90s, and I was just like, well, I'll do one of these every couple of years. This will be great. And HBO, for whatever reason, I think The Sopranos and that type, they just started doing more content like that, and they just kind of abandoned stand-up, which I think was really a terrible mistake on their part, because the amount of comedians that they broke. And to me, I don't know, it was like that was one. Stand-up comedy HBO special was one. I'm so glad I got to do one. So,
yeah, you're right. Stand-up comedy and HBO was like, that was where you went to find stand-up comedy specials.
Yeah, it would be like if I don't know, if you were a fucking rock star, whatever place you wanted to perform or whatever. Whatever venue. They were iconic. So anyways, he said that, and I remember like going, oh, wow, okay. I kind of took that to heart, and then watching him, then all of a sudden, I mean, I don't even think it was a year later, he put out like his first hour, and I was like, wow, man, wow.
Yeah.
Because Louis, up to that point, was, he wrote, but he didn't write anywhere near that level, and he was doing all this, like, all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And I used to always think, like, why is that guy's a star, man? Why is he, writing on the Chris Rock show or Letterman? Why is he filming these things, man? This guy is this guy is the guy.
Yeah.
And then now, you look at him now, and it's like he's doing everything on his own show. All those skills that he learned, I was like, oh, fuck.
Fuck, yes.
He can write, he can film, he can edit.
I would love to be able to have that fucking grab bag of talent that he's got. I've said so many inappropriate, borderline offensive things to Louis, meant as a compliment, so many fucking times.
Right.
Like I remember one time he had just gotten done with something. He had been doing pilots, and one pilot didn't get picked up, and I ran into him at the Improv, and I was like, what you working on now? He goes, nothing. And I go, why? And he goes, because I'm not. And I said, but are you serious? I was like, dude, you should be doing something like almost like I was his mom.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you
should do a movie?
Yeah, you should do a movie.
Right.
But I saw him that way. Like, to me, he was that guy that could make something happen, create something out of nothing. Like, could.
Right.
And I was like, I remember being kind of dumbstruck. And then he was like, I'm just doing a set here like you are tonight. Like, and I was like, oh. I worked with him one weekend, right when I had Georgia, probably 8 years ago, right before you guys did that. Probably right before you guys did the half hour, and he was changing in the metamorphosis of not being the goofy tent. I don't know why I say tent pole, but like I feel like I think because his half-hour special for Comedy Central had a tent behind it, a circus tent, but like not like the
No, they didn't do stuff like that. They had the same background, didn't they?
No, it was Comedy Central one.
Comedy Central. Oh,
Yeah, his half-hour Comedy Central special had like a circus tent behind it because it was like goofy and like
Right.
you know, like, but and then he was morphing into like talking about his kids. I remember watching, and he had a rough week at the West Palm Improv. He was filling in for Pablo because Pablo broke his leg. So wait, what when are you doing your next special?
Not until next year.
Oh,
this
nice.
Is the
Do you really fucking scrap the material? Like when you go and like so when you go to write this year?
People make such a big deal out of that. There's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's just like I think for a guy who has a style, storyteller style. It's not a big deal. Those joke writer guys, it's like when you know, which I can't write jokes. I don't know how to write jokes.
Really?
I tell stories that are funny. It's way different. But like those guys, like a Mitch Hedberg, a Stephen Wright, those kinds of guys, like
that's tough.
Like the amount of material that they have to remember is it's just like astounding. Like you know, and I view both of those guys like how good they are, you know, and how good Mitch was. Like that's an unattainable. Like I don't have that talent. That's just like I know we're all doing stand up, but that's a whole different. You know, I'm like getting past a torch where those guys are lighting their own. Like I feel like they came up with like their own. Just their own, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I would say the difference between like a Kobe or a Michael Jordan, where Kobe can do the things Michael did, but Michael did shit I never saw before.
Yeah.
So it's always, you know, it's one of those deals like, you know, who played behind their head and did all that wah-wah stuff until Jimi Hendrix did it. Now there's all these instructional videos on how to do it. These fucking idiot kids on the internet are going like, yeah, he's kind of lame. I don't think he's that good. And it's like, this guy was doing this almost 50 fucking years ago, and he came up with it. And now you guys have all these. That's the one thing that I am very envious of kids today. Like I played a little bit of guitar, but I played drums, and just the access to knowledge that you have. Like, dude, back in the day, they'd show you a fucking paradiddle and a couple other things. All right, see you next week.
Yeah.
And like these kids now, they can learn more drum shit in 3 hours on YouTube than I could in like 3 years of lessons. And that's and I would even go more so because half the time you can literally watch the guy you're a fan of. And they'll have like multi cameras. They'll show his foot, like his foot technique and all that. I used to try to figure out how does John Bonham do those triplets so quickly. And like if he was still alive today, like he would make a video like, okay, mate, here's how I did it. Right, just kind of slid up the pedal, however the hell he did it.
I played the guitar and but this was back when, I mean, I'm sure people still teach themselves, but you taught yourself how to play the guitar. But you taught yourself to play the guitar based on listening, or you'd start with the chord book, you'd learn the chords, and then you'd figure out you'd listen to one song, you'd figure out that out. But you had to learn how to listen to a song and play that song.
Right.
Like you couldn't go online and just find the chords.
So what I would suggest to people, because everybody always goes, do you have the tabs? Do you have the tabs? That's like saying, can you read this story to me? And you're never going to become literate. So when I was playing guitar before, you know, I got so friggin' busy, what I would do is when I would watch the guy where his hand was, and I get the first thing, and then I would turn my back and I would listen, and I forced myself to develop an somewhat of an ear, like a total novice ear. And what I just did was I just started with one string. I'm like, I'm going to figure out that melody on one string because trying to go to the other ones is too difficult.
Find it on the E string
or whatever,
and then you'd go, oh, that's where it is. Okay, well that's a C. We know that's got to be a C. Oh, but what's that?
That took me fucking like a year to figure that out. And then all of a sudden it slowly started to come. But I mean, I haven't played in like 3 months, so I'm probably right
Stone
back
Temple
to
Pilots. Stone Temple Pilots was the song where I was like, oh fuck.
How long you been playing for?
I've been playing for a really long time, but I'm
We
not
should
like
get to at some point and never film it, never upload it, because that's just a hobby.
Yeah.
I get pounded for what I do for a living. I don't need to be.
I got when Stone Temple Pilots came out. It's I have my guitar right here. This is the chord progression that.
Look at this, dude. How long's this podcast going? All of a sudden we're talking. I'm always been into fish tanks. This is my arowana I have over here. Wait is the classic new guitarist.
Is that a tune? No. Ow, fuck this. Anyway, the good luck, guys.
Can you please do a YouTube video called "Wait," like your new song, and it's just you strumming? Wait.
Dun
Wait.
dun 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 dun. When I feel that song.
Yep.
I learned that. I remember fucking sitting there listening to it, going, I can pick apart the sound. Fucking took me at least 2 nights. But listen to it. It's like the baddest song out. I learned it. And I couldn't figure out one part. My buddy John Dacre, who I was in a band with, was like, I got it. And he fucking had it. And we were like, shut the fuck up. But we didn't have the internet. And god damn it, if that didn't make me so much better of a guitarist. Because not only did I figure out how to play it, but I figured out all the ways around it and all these other different chord options. And then, of course, I could write any song that sounded like that.
And then probably you weren't playing it exactly how he did, but through, not even making a mistake, but how these people on the internet are just like, if you watch the live footage, that's not the positioning, and it's just like that's.
She Talks to Angels. Do you remember that song? She talked.
I just want to hear you sing again.
She never mentions the word addiction.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
But I learned how to play that, but I played it a different way, and then someone else showed me the right way, and I went, oh, fuck. I go, my way sounds pretty badass. I might turn that into my own song. And then I was the worst fucking songwriter I was in a band in college.
I basically, all I did was I just learned guitar so I could play all of Malcolm's parts in AC/DC. And I probably know how to play like 40 songs, and 39 of them are AC/DC songs, so I'm very limited.
I just got obsessed with Bob Seger.
Oh, you did?
Rambling Gambling Man. You ever heard that?
Yep.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, I worked in a warehouse. They had classic hits on forever. Like some of those songs, I almost get like fucking like food poisoning if I hear them, because I'm just so like I can't hear this fucking song again. Like I had to leave Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, The Doors, all these bands for like 10, 15 years and just forget.
Yeah.
And then come back and be like, oh God, these are so great, when they remastered them for the 9 millionth time.
Oh, how
many times has Jimmy Page remastered the Led? Like, no, this is the clearest you're going to be able to. It's like the same material.
I always get Led Zeppelin and The Who mixed up in my head. Like not the music, but the band, what they look like constantly. Because they both had crazy fucking drummers. They both had really good looking lead singers, and the guitarists were the fucking talent.
Blonde lead singer, black haired.
I always mix them up. Like who they were.
Right.
I just heard this big thing about Keith Moon about what a fucking lunatic he was. So wait, are you drinking right now?
Yeah.
But you always go on like big stretches where you don't drink.
No, I took a year off, and then
that's a big fucking stretch.
Yeah, that's a big stretch. And
my longest is I think 21 days.
And then I don't have a problem with it. I enjoy it, and then like I put on a little bit of weight, and then I just step away from it. Like I don't have like that. I need it, man. I don't have like that addictive personality.
It's called a locked singlet.
What is it?
It's a locked singlet.
Okay, I can't debate whether it is or it isn't.
It's called a locked singlet. It's in your brain. We're dealing with it with my daughter. When you get a locked singlet, it means your emotions don't have a place for it, and that's what causes that fucking, I need it, man. Like, I need something. I need fucking, it's a locked singlet. It's the new word in our house, because apparently Daddy has a locked singlet.
Oh, is that right?
As my wife just goes, someone's got a locked singlet, it seems.
No, but I have realized is like I never considered like, food's a drug and that type of thing, and then I'm just looking like everybody is a fucking junkie.
Yeah.
Like just that salt, sugar. There's so many people who are so few people who are free and clear of that.
100%.
Where, like, You don't even like you can't stop yourself. If you fucking eat like I don't know, a donut or a cupcake, you're like a grizzly bear. You're gonna find some chips.
Yeah.
And you're gonna take a big paw and you're gonna shove it in your mouth, and that has no nutritional value. Neither did the cupcake. You're balancing yourself out. It's like you did a bunch of blow and now you need some fucking alcohol to level yourself off. It's the same thing, except it kills you a lot slower, and you can function at work. You're allowed to do it openly.
Yeah,
at work.
I do.
You can have your cupcakes right on your desk, and nobody has a problem. You don't have to go to the bathroom to eat them.
It really does give you a charge. Like that cleanse I was telling you, I did it, and I didn't realize how often I just went to the fridge. Because when you're doing this cleanse, you can have a lunch, you can have a snack. I didn't realize how often my body just walks to the fridge. I go, what the fuck am I doing? I can't eat anything in there.
Right.
Wake up from a nap, and I want Girl Scout cookies. Like I just go, I want the fucking Samoas. And I just, all of a sudden I eat like fucking 10.
Isn't that when do they start selling those again?
Well, we stock up for a year. But
How do you do it?
Get your kids in Girl Scouts.
Oh, really?
I bought.
What do you freeze them or
fucking
something?
garage full of them.
How do you keep them?
They're like Twinkies. They last forever. I have Samoas right up top there. I fucking wolfed
You know
two
what?
Samoas
I'm not
before
going
you
to
came
take
over.
nutritional advice from you. I like Twinkies. They last forever. You could have a lab coat on right now. I'm not listening to that shit. I've known you too fucking long. Listen,
go
dude,
out
I have a playoff game to watch here.
We got to go out drinking, man.
We do. Let me do the cleanse first. No, dude, I already saw the cigars over there. You're smoking some fucking. Those are some sick ones there.
Anything
dude.
you want to plug?
Oh, hey, if you ever go to Boston, I have a great cigar bar in the North End that I went to.
Really?
And a great Italian restaurant.
We got to go out drinking in L.A. soon. I'm home for 2 weeks next 2 weeks. Maybe me, you, and Al will go out for drinks.
Kind of being on the road, but but when I go out and drink, I cab it.
Oh yeah. Uber.
Yeah.
Uber.
Yeah, big time. All right, cool. Let's sign off here.
This is my wife.
Hey, how are you? Nice to
Bill.
meet you.
How are you?
How you doing?
All right. Anything you want to plug? Dates? No, I think they probably already know where you're going to be.
Yeah, just listen to my Monday morning podcast every Monday at BillBurr.com. BURR.
All
That's
right.
it.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
man.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.